Aiden stepped off the small transport shuttle, his boots making a soft thud against the metallic floor of the velvet observatory. The station hovered quietly above a distant planet, its silver domes gleaming under the pale light of nearby stars. Humans had built this observatory to study the far reaches of space, but now, it was shared with other species, including a few alien researchers. Aiden had heard stories about their intelligence and strange ways, but nothing could prepare him for the first time he would meet one face to face. The air inside the observatory smelled faintly of metal and ozone, mixed with the soft warmth of recycled air. Walls shimmered slightly with embedded lights that seemed to change color as one walked past them. The whole place felt alive, like it was aware of its occupants. Aiden's heart thumped with a mix of excitement and nerves. This was not only his first mission at the station but also the chance to prove that humanity could compete in the greatest field of all, the stars. As he moved down the corridor, Aiden passed groups of scientists, both human and alien, discussing charts, data, and calculations. Alien researchers had smooth, luminescent skin and large, reflective eyes. Their movements were precise and deliberate, almost like they were part of a dance. Aiden paused, fascinated, noticing one alien adjusting the settings of a complex telescope with careful, deliberate movements. He wondered what it would feel like to think as quickly and accurately as they did. A soft voice behind him startled Aiden. "You must be Aiden," it said. He turned quickly to see Mara, an alien woman with shimmering silver blue skin and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them. Her movements were calm, almost flowing, and she wore a long, dark robe that contrasted with the bright lights of the observatory. "Yes," Aiden said, trying to sound confident, though his throat felt dry. "I just arrived. I've been assigned to help you with the new observation project," Mara said, her voice smooth and gentle. There was no arrogance in her tone, only quiet certainty. "I hope you are ready for some serious work." Aiden nodded, feeling an unexpected flutter of nervous excitement. There was something about Mara, something that made him want to learn more, not just about the stars, but about her. The two of them walked side by side to the observation deck, where massive telescopes pointed out at the endless dark of space. The view was breathtaking. Stars stretched across the sky like diamonds scattered on black velvet. Planets glowed softly in the distance, and a comet left a faint trail as it raced past the observatory. Aiden felt a surge of awe. Humanity had dreamed of touching the stars for centuries, and now he was standing among them, sharing the view with someone extraordinary. Mara approached the main console and gestured toward a screen displaying a distant star system. "This is where we will focus our observations," she explained. "There's a phenomenon that appears rarely. If we track it, we could gain knowledge no one else has." Aiden leaned over the console, his fingers brushing lightly against Mara's as he adjusted some of the controls. He felt a tiny spark at the contact, though he quickly shook his head and focused on the task. "It looks incredible," he said. "I've never seen anything like this." Mara smiled faintly, a delicate curve of her lips that somehow made the vast emptiness of space feel smaller, warmer. "It is beautiful," she agreed. "But beauty is nothing without understanding. We must work carefully. Precision is everything." For the next few hours, Aiden followed Mara's instructions, watching her movements and absorbing her methods. She explained her reasoning calmly and clearly, and he realized that while humans were passionate and sometimes impulsive, her approach combined patience with intelligence. Aiden admired her deeply. When they finally paused, the observatory lights dimmed slightly, and the stars outside seemed to glow even brighter. Aiden felt a strange mix of pride and anticipation. The day had been long, but he had learned something invaluable not only about the stars but also about Mara. As he stepped back from the console, Mara glanced at him and tilted her head, a question in her glowing eyes. Aiden smiled and nodded. He didn't know what the future held, but he felt certain that working with Mara would be more than just a scientific journey. It might also change something inside him. The Velvet Observatory, silent and immense, watched over them as the two scientists stared at the stars, feeling the pull of discovery, the thrill of knowledge, and the quiet stirrings of a connection neither of them fully understood yet. The next morning, Aiden arrived early at the Velvet Observatory, his mind still buzzing from the events of his first day. He could feel the faint hum of the station beneath his feet, as if the place itself was alive and eager for discovery. He knew that today would be different. He and Mara were assigned to study the mysterious star system together, and he hoped to learn more from her. When he entered the observation deck, Mara was already there, her eyes fixed on a screen displaying streams of data. Her silver-blue skin glimmered faintly in the light of the monitors, and she moved with a calm focus that made Aiden feel both inspired and slightly nervous. "Good morning, Aiden," Mara said softly, without looking up. "Are you ready to begin?" "Absolutely," he replied, trying to match her calm tone. He took his place beside her, looking at the complex instruments and holographic screens. The star system they were observing was unlike anything he had seen before. Strange energy pulses flickered around the stars, and tiny planets shifted in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. As they worked together, Mara explained her methods carefully. "You see," she said, pointing at the holographic display, "these energy patterns are very subtle. Humans often rush and miss the small details. Watch carefully, and notice the rhythm." Aiden leaned closer, watching her every movement. She adjusted the instruments with precision, her long fingers moving gracefully. He could feel his admiration growing with each passing moment. Not only was she brilliant, but there was something in her calm patience that made him want to match her level of focus. Hours passed quickly as they studied the star system. They exchanged observations and notes, each contributing their perspective. Aiden offered ideas based on human intuition, while Mara analyzed patterns with alien precision. Their combined efforts produced results faster than either could achieve alone. During a short break, Aiden stepped to the large observation window and gazed at the stars outside. The planet below shimmered with soft blue and green lights, reflecting off the surface of the observatory. Mara joined him silently, and for a moment, they simply watched the vast expanse of space together. "It's beautiful," Aiden said quietly. "Sometimes I forget how small we are compared to all of this." Mara tilted her head, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. "Small, perhaps," she replied, "but every being has the power to understand, to create, and to protect. That is what makes us important, no matter our size." Aiden smiled, feeling a warmth he could not explain. There was wisdom in her words, but also a gentle encouragement that made him feel capable of anything. He realized that he was not just learning about the stars today, he was learning from her, and that lesson felt more valuable than any scientific discovery. As they returned to their instruments, a small technical issue arose. One of the sensors began to malfunction, and data streams flickered erratically. Mara moved to fix it, but the panel was difficult to reach. Without thinking, Aiden stepped forward and carefully helped her. Their hands brushed briefly, sending a spark of awareness between them. Neither spoke, but both felt the silent acknowledgement of the moment. Once the sensor was fixed, Mara nodded, her eyes glinting with a faint smile. "Thank you, Aiden. Your timing was precise. You did most of the work," Aiden replied, though he could not hide his satisfaction at helping. For the rest of the day, they continued their observations, occasionally sharing small jokes and stories about their lives before the observatory. Aiden learned that Mara had spent much of her life exploring other planets and that she had a quiet love for the stars that rivaled his own. Mara discovered that Aiden had always dreamed of seeing the universe up close, and that his determination had brought him to places many humans could only imagine. As the day drew to a close, the station lights dimmed, and the stars outside seemed brighter than ever. Aiden and Mara stood side by side at the observation window, tired but satisfied. They had made progress in their work, and something unspoken had grown between them, a quiet respect, a shared excitement, and a feeling that perhaps the universe had brought them together for more than just research. Aiden looked at Mara, and for a moment, he caught a glimpse of something deeper in her eyes: curiosity, warmth, and something almost like hope. Mara met his gaze, and though she said nothing, Aiden felt a silent connection form, as strong and expansive as the stars around them. When Aiden left the observation deck that night, he felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. He knew that the days ahead would be challenging, but he also knew that working with Mara made every challenge feel exciting. The Velvet Observatory was more than a station in space. It was a place where discoveries were made, bonds were formed, and where the heart could quietly awaken, even among the stars. Aiden arrived at the Velvet Observatory earlier than usual. Today was not just another day of observation, it was the day they would attempt to track the rare cosmic anomaly that had captured the attention of scientists across the galaxy. The anomaly was unpredictable, appearing only once every few decades, and success would bring recognition not just to Aiden, but to the entire human race. Mara was already at the observation deck, her eyes scanning the holographic screens with careful precision. The silver-blue glow of her skin reflected the soft light of the monitors, and her calm focus made Aiden feel a mix of admiration and nervous anticipation. "Are you ready, Aiden?" she asked, her voice gentle but firm. "I am," he replied, though he felt a flutter in his chest. "This is going to be incredible." They began the day by calibrating the telescopes and sensors, working in perfect synchrony. Mara's movements were precise and deliberate, while Aiden's instincts guided him to notice details she might have overlooked. Together, they created a rhythm that felt almost effortless. As the anomaly began to appear on the screens, excitement filled the room. Tiny energy pulses flickered across the star system, moving in strange patterns that seemed to defy logic. Aiden leaned closer, adjusting one of the instruments, when suddenly a warning light blinked on the main console. "The sensor is unstable," Mara said calmly, though Aiden could hear the slight tension in her voice. "If it fails now, we could lose the observation entirely." Aiden's pulse quickened. "What can we do?" he asked. Mara gestured toward the control panel. "We need to manually stabilize it. I'll handle the recalibration, but I need you to assist with the alignment. It must be precise, or the readings will be useless." Aiden nodded and stepped closer. Together, they worked on the malfunctioning equipment, their hands occasionally brushing as they reached for the same tools. Each touch sent a subtle warmth through Aiden, though he focused on the task at hand. Minutes felt like hours as they carefully adjusted the instruments. Mara's calm voice guided Aiden through each step, and he realized that his trust in her was absolute. She, in turn, relied on his quick thinking to solve minor problems that arose during the recalibration. Their teamwork was seamless, and despite the pressure, they moved with confidence. Finally, the sensors stabilized, and the anomaly appeared clearly on the holographic display. Streams of energy danced across the screen, more beautiful and mysterious than anything Aiden had imagined. He felt a surge of awe and triumph. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with excitement. Mara glanced at him and smiled faintly, her eyes shimmering. "Yes, we did. Together." For a moment, they both paused, watching the anomaly in silence. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the observatory's systems. Aiden felt a strange closeness to Mara, a connection that went beyond work or admiration. She seemed aware of it too, though she said nothing. Suddenly, the anomaly shifted unpredictably, and one of the telescope's arms moved too quickly, almost knocking over a delicate instrument. Aiden reacted instantly, steadying it just in time. Mara's hand touched his briefly as she helped him adjust the settings. Neither pulled away immediately, and in that brief contact, Aiden felt a spark of something he could not name. "Careful," Mara whispered, her voice softer than usual. "I'm fine," Aiden replied, though his heart was racing. "We're fine." They continued their work, now more aware of each other's presence. The anomaly demanded all their attention, but the subtle tension between them was undeniable. Every glance, every accidental brush of hands, added to the unspoken understanding that something deeper was forming. By the end of the observation, they had collected valuable data, enough to make a breakthrough in the understanding of the cosmic anomaly. Aiden leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. Mara, too, seemed satisfied, her eyes reflecting both the stars outside and the quiet intensity of the day. "You handled yourself well under pressure," Mara said, a hint of admiration in her voice. "You made it easy," Aiden replied, smiling. "I learned a lot from you today." Mara nodded, her expression softening. "As did I. Your intuition is valuable. Humans have a way of seeing possibilities that others may miss." As the observation deck quieted and the station lights dimmed, Aiden realized that today had changed more than just their scientific results. Their connection had grown stronger, built on trust, respect, and shared triumph. The Velvet Observatory was more than a place of study, it was a place where bonds could form, where humans and aliens could learn from each other, and where hearts could awaken even in the midst of the stars. Aiden left the observation deck that evening with a sense of pride and a quiet excitement. He knew the days ahead would hold more challenges, more discoveries, and perhaps, more moments like today, moments that were as much about connection as they were about the universe. The night had fallen over the Velvet Observatory, and the station was quiet except for the soft hum of machinery and the distant flicker of stars outside the observation windows. Aiden lingered in the corridor, unable to leave just yet. He had spent another long day observing the rare cosmic anomaly with Mara, and though his body was tired, his mind was restless. There was something about her presence that made the ordinary tasks feel extraordinary. He finally found Mara alone in the observation deck, sitting quietly before the large viewing window. The stars stretched endlessly across the sky, painting the darkness with points of brilliant light. Mara's reflective eyes seemed to mirror the constellations, and for a moment, Aiden forgot to breathe. "Good evening, Aiden," she said softly, without turning from the window. Her voice was calm, yet it carried a warmth that made him feel at ease. "Evening," he replied, stepping closer. "I thought I'd find you here. The stars, they're incredible tonight." Mara nodded slowly. "They are. Sometimes I feel that looking at the stars reminds me of who I am. They are constant, yet ever-changing, much like ourselves." Aiden glanced at her, intrigued. "What do you mean?" She finally turned her gaze toward him, her expression thoughtful. "I mean that we all have paths to follow. Some are clear, some are uncertain. But the stars remind me that even in vast darkness, there is light to guide us. Aiden smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. He realized that Mara's wisdom went beyond science. She understood life in ways he had only begun to comprehend. I feel the same, he admitted. Sometimes I worry I'm not capable of living up to the expectations I've set for myself. But being here, with you, it makes me feel like maybe I can do more than I imagined. Mara's lips curved into a faint, understanding smile. It is not weakness to question yourself, she said gently. It is strength to continue, even when uncertain. You remind me of that tonight, Aiden. They stood in silence for a while, their shoulders almost touching, as they both stared out at the vast expanse of space. The observatory's soft lights reflected on the glass, creating a subtle glow around them. For the first time, Aiden noticed how delicate and graceful Mara's movements were, how even her quiet presence seemed to fill the room. I never realized, Aiden said after a moment, how much it matters to have someone to share these moments with. The stars are amazing, but they feel even more alive when someone else sees them with you. Mara looked at him then, her eyes holding a faint glimmer of emotion. I agree. Knowledge is powerful, but connection gives it meaning. You have reminded me of that as well, Aiden. The quiet closeness between them grew, and Aiden felt a strange mixture of admiration, respect, and a budding warmth that he could not ignore. He wanted to reach out, to speak words that might change the distance between them, but he hesitated, aware of the need for caution and mutual respect. Mara seemed to sense his thoughts, for she did not move away. Instead, she offered a gentle, inviting smile. I'm glad we worked together, Aiden said finally, his voice steady despite the flutter in his chest. I think I've learned more from you in these few days than I have in years of study. Mara's smile widened just slightly. And I from you. You remind me that even when logic guides our actions, heart and intuition have their place. You are remarkable, Aiden. The two of them continued to watch the stars, sharing stories of their lives before the observatory. Aiden spoke of his childhood dreams of exploring space, of nights spent gazing at the sky with wonder. Mara shared memories of traveling to distant planets, of studying alien constellations that humans could not yet see. Each story drew them closer, revealing parts of themselves that were rarely shared. As the hours passed, the observatory seemed to grow smaller, warmer, as if the stars themselves were leaning in to listen. Aiden realized that his admiration for Mara had deepened into something more profound, a quiet affection built on respect, trust, and shared experiences. Mara, too, seemed aware of the connection, though she expressed it only through gentle words and small, meaningful glances. Finally, Aiden knew it was time to leave, though neither of them moved immediately. He lingered at the window, feeling the pull of the stars and the pull of Mara's presence beside him. Good night, Mara, he said softly. Good night, Aiden, she replied, her voice carrying the warmth of understanding and quiet hope. As he walked back to his quarters, Aiden felt a new sense of purpose. The Velvet Observatory was no longer just a place of discovery, it was a place of connection, of shared dreams, and of a bond that had begun quietly, like the soft glow of distant stars, ready to grow brighter with time. The day had come for Aiden and Mara to observe the rare cosmic phenomenon they had been preparing for weeks. The Velvet Observatory was unusually quiet that morning, the soft hum of machinery and the occasional beeping of instruments filling the silence. Both were focused, yet a subtle tension lingered between them, a quiet excitement that had been growing over the past days. The anomaly was visible in a distant star system, its energy pulses glowing softly on the holographic display. Scientists across the galaxy had been eager to study it, but Aiden and Mara had the unique opportunity to witness it up close. As they entered the observation dome, the massive telescopes reflected the dim glow of the stars, casting long shadows across the floor. Mara moved gracefully to the main console, adjusting the instruments with calm precision. "We must work carefully," she said. "Any mistake could cause us to lose the readings. Focus is critical." Aiden nodded, taking his position beside her. As he adjusted one of the instruments, his fingers brushed hers. Both froze for a brief moment. It was a small touch, almost accidental, yet it sent a quiet warmth through Aiden. Mara did not pull away. Instead, her gaze met his, steady and unflinching. Neither spoke, but the moment lingered longer than it should have, filled with a gentle tension neither of them had experienced before. "Ready?" Mara asked softly, breaking the silence. "Ready," Aiden replied, his voice calm though his heart raced. They began observing the anomaly, the glowing energy pulses moving across the display in strange and beautiful patterns. The phenomenon was unlike anything Aiden had ever seen. Streams of light twisted and flowed like liquid, shifting colors and intensity as if the universe itself were performing a dance. Mara's eyes sparkled with concentration, and Aiden found himself captivated not only by the anomaly but also by her presence beside him. As they worked, the observation required them to lean close to the instruments, their shoulders brushing, their movements synchronized. Aiden felt the subtle pull of attraction growing stronger. He tried to focus on the readings, but his thoughts kept drifting to Mara, her calm voice, her intelligent mind, the quiet grace in everything she did. Mara seemed aware of the unspoken tension but remained professional, guiding him through each adjustment with care and patience. At one point, a minor complication arose. One of the sensors began to flicker, threatening the accuracy of their data. Mara moved quickly to stabilize it, but the instrument required both of their hands. They leaned closer together, adjusting it carefully, their hands occasionally touching. The warmth of the contact, combined with the soft glow of the anomaly, made the room feel almost magical. Aiden felt the temptation to reach out, to say something more, yet he restrained himself, aware of the importance of their work and the respect between them. Finally, the sensors stabilized, and the anomaly shone clearly on the display. The beauty of the phenomenon was breathtaking, and for a few minutes, neither spoke. They simply watched together, sharing a quiet awe. The room seemed smaller, warmer, as if the universe itself had shrunk to hold just the two of them and the glowing anomaly. "This is incredible," Aiden whispered, almost to himself. "Yes," Mara agreed, her voice soft and reflective. "It is more than I imagined. The universe is full of wonders, but seeing it with someone who understands, it makes it even more remarkable." Aiden met her gaze, and for the first time, he realized how deep his admiration had grown into something more, a quiet affection, tempered by respect, patience, and shared experiences. Mara's eyes reflected the anomaly's glow, and he felt a gentle pull, a connection that was almost tangible. They continued their observations, exchanging insights and discoveries, yet the subtle tension remained a reminder of the feelings that had begun quietly and were now growing stronger. Each accidental touch, each shared glance, carried weight. Neither acted on it, yet both felt it, acknowledging it in their own unspoken way. By the end of the observation, they had collected data that would advance humanity's understanding of the cosmos. Aiden stepped back, exhausted but exhilarated. Mara turned to him, her expression calm yet slightly softened. "You handled yourself well today," she said, her voice carrying a quiet warmth. You made it easier, Aiden replied, smiling. I learned more than I expected, not just about the anomaly, but from you. Mara's lips curved into a faint smile. And I from you. Your presence reminds me that understanding is not only about knowledge, it is about connection. As they left the observation dome, the stars outside seemed brighter than ever, reflecting the quiet excitement and tension that lingered between them. The Velvet Observatory had been witness not only to a cosmic marvel but to the beginning of a bond that was growing stronger with each shared discovery, each quiet glance, and each unspoken feeling. The Velvet Observatory was quiet in the early hours, the stars outside casting a gentle glow across the station. Aiden had barely started his day when the alarm sounded, a low, urgent hum that made every scientist on the station tense. He and Mara rushed to the observation deck, where the screens displayed an incoming asteroid field approaching the observatory's orbit. Mara's eyes were sharp and focused, her calm demeanor hiding the urgency beneath. This is unexpected, she said. We need to protect the station immediately. The instruments must remain operational, or we risk losing all collected data. Aiden nodded, feeling adrenaline surge through him. What can I do to help? You will assist me with the navigation systems, Mara instructed. We must calculate the asteroid trajectories and adjust the station's position. Precision is critical. One mistake could be disastrous. Together, they worked quickly, their hands moving over the control panels, adjusting readings and monitoring the station's orbit. The hum of machinery and the flicker of warning lights filled the room. Aiden felt the weight of responsibility, but he also felt an unspoken trust in Mara's abilities. Her calm and precise instructions guided him, and he realized that he had never worked so well with someone before. Minutes passed like hours as the asteroids drew closer. Aiden monitored the trajectory calculations while Mara coordinated the station's defensive systems. They exchanged brief words of instruction, each one confident in the other's skills. At one point, a smaller asteroid broke off from the main field and veered toward the observation dome. Aiden instinctively grabbed Mara's arm to steady her as she adjusted the protective shields. Their hands brushed, but this time, there was no hesitation. The moment passed without words, but it strengthened the connection between them, a silent acknowledgement of reliance and trust. The shields are holding, Mara said, her voice calm but filled with quiet relief. We need to maintain focus. The main field is still approaching. Aiden's hands moved quickly over the controls, making fine adjustments as Mara calculated new trajectories. He admired the way she remained composed under pressure, her eyes never leaving the displays. Her skill and confidence gave him courage, and he realized how much he depended on her guidance. As the asteroid field neared its closest point, both of them worked in near-perfect synchronization. Every calculation, every adjustment, and every movement had to be precise. The hum of the machinery became almost rhythmic, matching the racing beat of Aiden's heart. He looked at Mara briefly, and their eyes met, a silent reassurance that they would succeed together. Finally, the last of the asteroids passed, and the station stabilized. The warning lights faded, and the screens returned to their normal displays. Aiden exhaled, feeling a mixture of relief and exhilaration. Mara stood beside him, her posture calm, though he could see a faint glimmer of satisfaction in her eyes. You did well, she said softly, placing a hand on the console near his. Your instincts and quick thinking helped save the station. You did most of it, Aiden replied, though he felt proud of his contribution. I couldn't have done it without you. Mara's lips curved into a gentle smile. And I couldn't have done it without you. You remind me that trust and cooperation can achieve what alone we might fail to do. The crisis had passed, but the tension and teamwork had drawn them even closer. Aiden realized that their connection was no longer just curiosity or admiration, it was built on respect, trust, and shared experiences in the face of danger. Mara, too, seemed to understand the depth of their partnership, though she expressed it through small gestures and quiet acknowledgement rather than words. As the observatory returned to its normal rhythm, they reviewed the data from the asteroid field. The anomaly they had been observing earlier remained intact, and their successful defense of the station ensured that no progress was lost. For Aiden, this was more than a scientific victory, it was proof that humans, with determination and courage, could face even the most unexpected challenges alongside allies from other worlds. When the work was done, Aiden and Mara stood by the observation window, looking out at the vastness of space. The stars shone brighter than ever, and the station's quiet hum seemed softer now, almost comforting. "Thank you, Mara," Aiden said, his voice sincere. "Today was intense, but I feel like I've learned so much from you." "And I from you," Mara replied. "Your courage and intuition remind me that humans are capable of great things. Not just in science, but in heart and spirit as well." Aiden smiled, feeling a quiet warmth in his chest. The Velvet Observatory had witnessed many incredible events, but none as meaningful as the bond forming between them, a connection forged in discovery, trust, and the courage to face the unknown together. The Velvet Observatory was calm that evening, the soft glow of distant stars spilling across the observation deck. Aiden and Mara stood side by side, gazing at the vast expanse of space. The rare cosmic anomaly they had worked so hard to observe had been recorded successfully, and the station hummed quietly around them. For the first time since their arrival, the two of them had a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to acknowledge the bond that had quietly grown between them. Aiden took a deep breath. "We did it, Mara," he said softly. "The data is incredible. We've made a real contribution, not just for humans, but for everyone working here." Mara turned her gaze to him, her silver blue skin glowing softly in the dim light. "Yes, Aiden," she replied, her voice gentle. "We did it together. It is rare to find someone you can trust completely. Today has shown me that trust is more valuable than any discovery." For a moment, they were silent, letting the weight of their words sink in. The stars outside seemed brighter, almost as if the universe itself were acknowledging the moment. Aiden felt a surge of courage. He had admired Mara from the start, her intelligence, her calm, and her grace, but now, after days of working together, of facing challenges, and of sharing quiet moments, he realized he wanted more. "Mara," he began, unsure how to continue. I don't just respect you. I feel something more. Something I didn't expect." Mara's eyes softened, a faint glimmer of emotion reflecting in them. "I feel it too, Aiden," she admitted quietly. "It has been growing for some time. I was unsure if it was appropriate to acknowledge, but I cannot deny it any longer." Aiden felt a wave of relief and happiness. He took a careful step closer, and Mara did the same, the space between them shrinking. Neither moved too fast, understanding the importance of respect and patience. Yet the connection between them was undeniable, built on trust, shared experience, and the quiet admiration that had grown each day. Then, Aiden said, his voice steady, "We face this together. Not just the work, but whatever this is between us." Mara nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "Yes. Together. The stars have shown us possibilities, but it is our choices that will define them." For a few minutes, they simply stood in silence, watching the stars. The velvet observatory seemed to hum in approval, its soft lights reflecting off the instruments and the domed ceiling. Aidan felt a sense of peace and purpose. He had come here to explore the universe, to prove humanity's strength, and now he had found something equally valuable, a connection that transcended species, one built on respect, admiration, and genuine care. "I never thought I would feel this way," Aidan admitted, "but being here, working with you, it has changed everything. The universe feels larger, but somehow more personal too." Mara tilted her head, her eyes reflecting his. "And I never imagined I would trust someone so completely. You remind me that courage is not only about facing dangers, it is about allowing yourself to care, to connect, and to believe in something beyond yourself." Aidan reached out gently, taking Mara's hand in his. She did not pull away. Instead, she held it firmly, a quiet affirmation of trust and understanding. The warmth of her touch, the soft glow of her skin, and the infinite stars around them created a moment that felt suspended in time. "The stars will continue to shine," Mara said softly, "and so will we. Together." Aidan smiled, feeling the truth of her words. "Together," he agreed. They stood there for a while longer, hands lightly clasped, hearts quietly aligned. The cosmic anomaly they had studied would be remembered in scientific records, but this moment the connection between them was theirs alone. It was proof that even in the vastness of space, humans could find bonds that transcended boundaries, that courage, curiosity, and kindness could create something beautiful. As the night deepened, Aidan and Mara finally stepped back from the observation window. They knew that work would continue, that challenges would arise, and that the universe would always present new mysteries. But for now, they carried with them a shared understanding, a bond that had grown from respect into something more profound. The Velvet Observatory watched over them silently, a witness to discovery, to courage, and to the quiet beginnings of love. And in that silence, among the stars, Aidan and Mara took the first steps toward a future together, one filled with exploration, trust, and the infinite possibilities of the heart.